In this video, I will have a first look on the Plant Factory. If you work before with the Vue application, or if you have a new subscription to applications, you probably will notice it's bundled with the Plant Factory. Just overall, right here, example, we have it on the Eon Software website, and you can see this is Vue comparison all the stuff, but you also notice Vue is bundled with Plant Factory. And it's certain things, as I'm share my knowledge with other people about Vue, people kind of know it's there, but surprisingly very few people who are actually using Plant Factory. And Plant Factory is very powerful applications. For a long time it was sold by its own, but after it was switched to the subscription version, it's become part of the bundle. Of course, you can select what type you want it, but overall all of them will work very well. So in this video I want to just look on the Plant Factory, what you can do with this. And mostly for those who maybe work a little bit, you heard about this, or those who never even have the ability to have these applications as a bundle but never actually work with this. So what does a Plant Factory do? It is help us create plants, special plants that we can use it inside the Vue application or any other 3D applications as well. And licensing on a Vue allowed you to actually create and sell those plants as you're creating. So it is a very good tool if you like to do this. We will look on the higher version of the Plant Factory. The smaller versions have some limitation on export and so on. We can mention those as well. But what I want to do is look what this application can do. And if you're interested after this introduction kind of video, you can check more. I have it, hundreds of videos about Plant Factory from intermediate to advanced level, and you can see what you can create with this. But I would just let you know, it's not going. You don't need just create plants. You can create even buildings, gear machine, and so on. I mean, it is more modeling tool. So let's look right here. When you start Plant Factory, usually you have these screens, and you can see you have your isometric kind of view. You have a node view. And by the way, when I say node view, it's meaning all our functionality we can create through the nodes, connecting them. Like we have the root, we can connect a trunk, branches of the plant, and so on. And below we have access to the properties and some preview of materials. The properties change depending on what node we're using. Personally, I will highly recommend for you to just slightly adjust. This is basic view. However, if you go to display, workspaces, and switch to advanced, personally, I prefer this mode because it's allowed us access on toolbar, a little bit more options. As well, we have a little bit more options on a side for the node, fast access with our toolbar, and some additional properties. So next, what I recommend you to do at the beginning, it's right click with the nodes, go to options, and right here we can enable couple options that we want to do. First, I want to enable show control nodes, and you notice as I enable, we have it just not roots, we have it also edge, season, and health. If you're not familiar with the plants inside the Vue, the plants is actually a species that you create type, and they're all dynamically generated, random, but it's based on random seed, but they all can generate it differently, of course, based on property as when you create plants where you put it there, but they're all unique. Each plants look different, but they're all the same species like as in reality. Beside that, you also can link additional options like what age of the plant you can grow. And in some videos where I can link below, when we create, like, for example, flower or something, or tree, just for fun, I was creating the plants. And like right here, you can see I created the, okay, let me go back to this one. I created the money tree. And as it's growing, it was creating from small bills, it's growing, it's creating bigger bills, and after come to the gold coin as a fruit. So you can create quite a bit fun things with those plants with the edge selection. Same with the seasons. Actually, that one was more season, not edge. Edge will grow, but that's seasons. And health depend on relocating. And all of this dynamically. You can control them from inside the view when you populate it. Of course, all plants, they're reacting with the wind, with the breeze and other things, with all these different type environments. Okay, how we can create it? How I said before, it is node based, so it's meaning we can create nodes. But another way you can create it is just using pen tool. So what is meaning? Let's go, for example, take right here trunk, and you can see if I go to my view, I can start and I can draw. And as I'm drawing, the tree is actually created. I can take branch now and draw the branches if I need it. Okay, up right here, look on this, my branch is different. I want to be sure my branches have a green color, so it's collecting, but I can go right here, create my branch. I can take and create some leaves and so on. So you can see how you can very fun. If you prefer, you can actually just draw whatever plant you want to do. Personally, I think it's fun, but I don't like to do this. I like to work a little bit more with the nodes because it gives you a little bit better control and help you understand how it's work. So let's go ahead and delete those nodes and just look overall what we can do. Before we actually jump, let's look on the interface. And if you work with Vue before, you become kind of familiar, but just almost any 3D applications, very, very similar things what we have. We have our top navigation bar with drop-down menu where you can access all properties directly. This is also accessible by hotkeys. You have it additional toolbar below with the icons that is allowed you to fast access to specific mode. Some of them like basic, save, add, remove, some editing, zooming, previewing nodes, increasing, decreasing resolution, enable wind. For example, right here, you can preview how the plant will affect with the wind, with the different type effect. Just options to preview, hide some different nodes, also different type of viewers, and so on. Next, because we're in advanced mode, we'll have a little bit more on our left side where we have a different type of the nodes or components. Some of them already predefined, like trunk, branches, stems. And by the way, those is about similar type. There's just some properties modified and them already preset for you, so it's make much easy. But you can always take just branch and make trunk out of this or so on. Okay, you have it also flowers and the rest, and primitives below this, like you can create just normal segments, hydra, ball, and so on, just other ones. They also, next, let's look right now in the middle, and we have our node browser. It's where we work with the nodes and node flow going from left to the right. So this is our input, a basic node, for example, edge, root. Root is like your central point for your plant, and it's going to the right as you add complexity and they're more stackable. However, you could apply additional math. For example, you can add loops and more advanced stuff that is allowed you to have one node and repeated the effect of the node several times. You can also attach some additional parameters to like edge, season, and health, and so on. So it will change with time. If you click on a root, you notice below we have our properties, and those properties will change depending on what type of node you're selecting. Some of them can be very overwhelmed to many components, everything, and I would recommend you, if you start, do one step at a time, going with simple things. Don't try to resolve or change everything. And because this is very visual oriented application, it's very easy to see what you can do. So again, on a root, you can notice we have our setup, and this is very basic things. One thing I need to point to you, very useful, it's right here. You see the new seed. This is allowed you to kind of randomize your plant. So when you create plant, you can click several times, see different variations of this plant. It's help you to kind of see what it can be with different variants. And you can assign those variants as you're creating new stuff. So for example, let's go ahead. We'll take trunk right here. Let's go right click, we'll go to geometry, and we'll just select the trunk component. And as I say, it's simple drag and drag connect. Let's connect to input 0, and as we connect, you can see right here we have our trunk appear. And by the way, inside you can use it your okay, let me go. You can hold down Alt key, and your left key will turn around, like orbiting around. Your middle key will be panning, and your right key is zooming. So it's very standard preset. And of course, any of those keys you can change by going File, Options, and inside here you can change them as you need in Operation tab. So okay, here's our trunk as we connect it. Let's go select the trunk, and you notice the properties it's pop up, and we have a top global properties in high tab right there, setup, win, this is all global and related directly to our nodes below this. And you can see right here we have it, our segment, that's what we're working with, influence, materials, transform. And if you click on this, sometimes they can be very overwhelmed, and when you don't know what to do with them, just don't get frustrated. It's very easy actually. When you start working with them, they all make very, very good sense. So let's go first on the segment where we have it, and straightforward link. So this, you notice it's 10, we can switch to the 5. Important thing to pay attention to this. This is a unit, so we're going in meters or whatever you set your units into. But most important for us, it's a next window. The reason is why this is, you notice it's have a plus and minus. This is provide variations. So if I going and I put it 2, it's meaning it can be anywhere from 3 to 7. So let's see what's happening. Right now you can see this variation. Let's go to the setup and click on the edge, and you can see how it's changing because those variations is applying. So this is kind of important if you want to do a plant, and when you're using like a Vue ecosystem or other things, anyone randomization, look at the different. This is an option where you want to pay attention with those parameters. In the tab, this variation is what will make that effect. Be sure, like say right here, radius already have some variations what we saw, but if you want them look exactly the same, you don't need to worry about this. But if you want to change work with those variations, those properties, and they're almost everywhere. You can see they're almost everywhere. You have this option. This is what make very nice about this. Make plants look so unique. But you can have it, those variations. So next, same things, influence. For example, we create this. Let's go make a little bit taller, maybe 7. Again, 7 with 2. It's have it will be variations between 5 till 9. Also, you'll notice those is filters that tell us how these parameters will affect. Example, let's go look on the radius. Right here we open, and by the way, 1 is the affecting directly on the current node, and another one's it's what affecting from the parent. So let's go right here. You can see how they're reducing, and this is beginning and end, and we can see on our trunk radius. So if I take this and go all the way down, you can see how it's become very thin at the beginning. So we set values reduction with the filter. If we want to create very thick, we can also play around with this thickness. Again, go through all of these properties. I would highly recommend to go check my other videos about the Plant Factory. And you can access them several ways. You can go to geekatplay.com and go to the Plant Factory. And right here you can see it's a series of tutorials. By the way, some of them, you can notice you can make gears if you want it. You know, how I say before, you can build a lot of them. And by the way, tutorials is built this way, just let you kind of helpful. If you see the discovering, mostly it is a beginner series. Discovering is beginning series. Exploring, it's a little bit more advanced. And just when we creating our digital herbarium, it's more on creating specific plants, kind of going inside, take each plant as a project and then work on this. They're all available also on YouTube, and I have it on YouTube more videos about the Plant Factory. That is not in a series, so they're just on the YouTube, but you can download it there. And of course, each series have it multiple videos inside, so it's based on the project, and you can go around, and some of them kind of texture. So if you're interested, you can look on those ones. Okay, if you want to continue going forward with this. Okay, and in those videos, we're going over all of these properties, explaining how they work, what to do, and how to use them. But if you want to explore on your by yourself, more than welcome. You can open, just add nodes. And like I say, it's very fun and very easy. So for example, right here, trunk. So let's go right there. Next is our branches, and we can just right click, go to geometry, open branch segment. So it's create new node, and we again going connect. And as we're connecting, let's go connect to node children. And you can see there we have it, our branches appearing. Of course, as we're selecting them to the branches, plus, by the way, it's expanded. You can see right here we have it children. We can have it as many children as we want, so we can add more and more and more. But anytime when you add it, be careful with this, because it is creating new polygons, so it's getting heavy on a system. You need kind of very good balance between this to do. But you notice as we add trunk, right here we have it, our branch connected now. And this is, we can control our branch from our parent, and we have it our property of the branch from itself. So this is part can become a little bit confusing when you start working with this, because in some cases as you work, you sometimes think the properties of the node can be inside the properties when I created, and that is correct. However, some influences of this node be inside the parent in a tab where is the connecting. For example, right here you can see orientation. So let's say it's 30 degrees net now. If we change, notice how it's a drop down. This is again affecting from the parents, not from the branch itself. And nice things about this, when you modify, you can live preview and see how does it affect. And before I mentioned the wind, so you can turn on wind, and right now, because it's a kind of, they don't affect that much by the wind, they are not visible. We can go in and influence, and just go inside here and have it flexibility to wind. Let's go set 10%. And there you go. Now you can see a little bit more influence. The wind, actually, we can see how it will affect. By the way, I don't recommend do 10 to the wind. It's meaning there will be like flopping all over the place if you make animation inside the view. But just let you know, this is the flexibility. Okay, so let's go back to our branch. And you can see you can add more. You also can add additional parameters, pruning, and like I don't like them be on one side, so we can go ahead, rotate, readjusting. And anytime when you do these things, I will highly recommend for you to use it, this variation, because this way we can randomizing. So again, if we put a 10 here, and notice right here number of the branches, it's how many branches we have. Currently 6 plus minus 1. We can add more and add maybe 4 on the randomization, so we have more of those. Same inside the branch. Now the link, for example, is going inside the branch, 5 plus minus 2. And just for fun, let's go and influence and pop up abbreviation string, so they kind of look very funny. And again, 0.1. So almost any time when you create, add randomization. This way, when we're going inside our setup and we play around with different, you can see that our species now have a different effect. So randomization. And I like to do this because I want to see this bracket of variations, because sometimes maybe you create one plan and it's look okay, but when you create variations look ugly, because some of those combinations or random numbers that maybe does not look very well together. So and when you find the plant that is look very ugly, well, and maybe some of those random combinations become not very pleasant, then you can go down and work them out, maybe reduce, increase, or whatever you need to do. So it's a nice way to do this as a preview as you're doing. And by the way, when you preview, you'll notice right here on the top of our main screen, where is our kind of isometric or whatever preview is going on, we have it all these different modes, and they help us to preview. So in display, we have it shaded. We can display as a normals. So if you prefer whatever preview mode, display options, wireframe, colors, so whatever you do with texturing, you can preview these. Filter, you can preview specific elements, mesh, and if you prefer, you can use a path tracer, which is help in some cases preview how it will look. I would recommend to list render or use it render element, render your plan before you actually export it, because many times what we see here, it's not necessarily will look exactly the same when we're exporting, and let's do how it will work with the texturing and some other elements. And by the way, to speak about texturing, you can always, it is parent to the child texturing. So for example, if I'm going in the root, now let me turn off wind a little bit. And if I'm going in a root and I uploaded this material, that material will propagate from my parent to all my child. But you always can go back to your child or whatever you want it, go to materials and change here. You'll notice it's overwhelming amount of the materials, and because they apply to different properties. They can be dual-sided materials, they can apply to the blades, cups, and so on, so many properties. But you don't need to go and replace everything. If you just go on top this segment body, again, it will apply as well to this, and you change this, you'll notice the propagation is actually changed just to those ones they applied. So in this case, you don't need to worry to change all of them. They will apply to everywhere. However, you have the ability to change them as well if you need it in this case. So right here, it's kind of very basic things. Of course, you can more explore how, say, create a different effects, create a different plants and all this stuff. I will highly recommend for those who are interested in this, go check those videos at that point before. And last things, when you're done creating whatever, when you've done everything, you can go to File, Export, and in Export, you'll notice you have several things. You can export as a mesh, or if you export as a view inside this, you can export as a species, which I highly recommend if you have those variable set up on variations, because this time, anytime when you drag and create new instance, it will be unique. Okay, it will be based on those random numbers. You can also export just the object or mesh, or you can save it as object and used in another applications like Cinema 4D, Blender, or any other ones. But keep it in mind that the animations and some seasons, something will be working because it is directly linking and kind of its integrated system with the view, how it's worked together, like seasons, edges, age, animations, wind, react to the wind, to the gust, or other things that won't be available in those ones because it is related to the view. With extend, if you don't use bridges, if you have a special link between, use bridge between Cinema 4D, then your view environment will be inside the Cinema 4D, and those properties will work that case. But if you export just straight out objects, those properties won't be available. It will be like locked model, which is still kind of work nicely in many cases. And you can obviously use it in the Unity, Unreal, and other game engine if you need that as well. So overall, here's a very basic overview. You can see how you can easily start creating, but it also have a very nice depth to this application that allowed you to do much more from what we saw right now. And I hope this is introduction kind of help you to open this Plant Factory application, try to create your first plant. You can create totally sci-fi look plant, or create something realistic. And you can see right here, for example, I have it create something not existence, like with metal circles, or you can create more realistic type of the plant. So you can play around and create all these different types, have fun with this, and always welcome to check my YouTube channel if you need it for more videos. They're available there for Plant Factory. And if you have questions, just reach directly. Let me know if you have any specific question about this. Thank you again for watching this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click notifications there, so it kind of let you know when new videos is out. And I'll greatly appreciate your feedback if you are using Plant Factory and you need looking for more videos in some specific areas. Again, thank you. I have fun time to creating new stuff in 3D.